Welcome to the recording of our Salesforce Solutions webinar with Anna Crotty from Mission Edge. My name is Seth Goddard. I'm the VP for Business Development here at Predictive Response. And for those of you who were with us for the live recording, please stay tuned to the end where I have added a screen demonstration of how Predictive Response implements the strategy outlined in this webinar. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off. Anna Crotty from Mission Edge, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm going to start with some quick introductions so that you know who we all are that I'm talking about today. Mission Edge is a nonprofit dedicated to other nonprofits. I'm the CIO there. We provide services to do almost anything except deliver a nonprofit's mission. We offer fiscal sponsorship, finance and accounting services, HR, operational services, and information management and IT. The work we're talking about today falls into that last category. So next up, who is Voice of San Diego? If you're familiar with nonprofit news, then Voice of San Diego probably makes sense to you. But if you're not, it's a very different model than traditional news. They do not reprint other people's news. They do all their own investigative reporting, and Voice covers issues as narratives that go on for weeks or even months as reporters really dig into stories, and readers become more and more educated. There's almost no print component. It's just a monthly magazine that's in print. So because Voice delivers their mission online, they are very aggressive about using technology well. That's what makes them particularly fun for me to work with. You'll notice that I often talk about Voice as we, even though I'm not an employee there. And I've got to put in a shameless plug. If you live someplace that is served by nonprofit news, I definitely encourage you to start reading. Now that you know what Voice is, there's one really important thing for you to understand for today's discussion, and that is that Voice members consider themselves to be close personal friends with the organization, and they take it personally when communications indicate otherwise. So how do we work together? We've been working together for about a year on several different projects. All these projects are about the long-term sustainability of Voice of San Diego. There's no one system that can do everything Voice needs to do, so we're taking advantage of WordPress, Woopra, lots of custom web work, Salesforce, Eventbrite, Predictive Response, and one thing that we love about Salesforce is that we can connect Salesforce to all these systems. We're not just connecting them for the fun of it, though. This work is all about understanding the audience better, improving service, and most important, moving people from engaged to committed, which we'll come back to in just a moment. Today we're really focusing on the work that Mission Edge has done with Voice of San Diego around predictive response and Salesforce. I get asked pretty regularly in my job to compare predictive response to something like MailChimp or Constant Contact, and I always tell people those things are just not in the same league. Predictive response is really providing sophisticated automation tools, not just a way to send email to a bunch of people. So in today's conversation, we are going to talk about three big things: how Voice uses emails to increase donations, why those emails need to be automated, and how we used predictive response to do that. The driver behind this work is our effort to move people from engaged to committed. We group people into three different buckets. The first is informed, and these are people who are coming to the website and reading the news, but they are anonymous to us. We don't have any way to contact them. People take the step to become engaged when they sign up for an editorial email like the daily morning report, or they sign up for an account on the website so that they can comment on articles. At that point, we can contact them, and then we're very focused on moving these people from engaged to committed. We need people to support Voice financially and to attend events as well. So we have all the information about engaged and committed people in Salesforce. We have a very clear, well thought out strategy on how to move people from engaged to committed. This is a lot more detailed than just everyone should donate. I'm going to show you a slide next that has a picture of the marketing strategy flowchart. I know you can't read it, but I want to show it to you so that you can see that Voice put a lot of work into defining how they would take people from engaged to committed. If you're interested in doing something similar to what we're outlining today, I'd really encourage you to start by mapping out your idea very thoroughly. In order to get the most out of predictive response, you really should spend the time up front on this work. Otherwise, you'll most likely set up some campaigns and then realize that they really aren't what you want, and you'll find yourself starting over, which is always frustrating. So now you know what we're up to. Let's get a little more specific and talk about the three kinds of communications that we're focused on today. One is the welcome emails, the next is the potential member funnel, and then the membership renewal reminders. What these all have in common is that the list of recipients changes every day. Every day is renewal day for somebody, and new people are always engaging. Without predictive response, it was very tedious to compile these lists and then to send out the right emails. I'm going to describe these emails just a little bit. The welcome emails are emails that people receive when they do something for the first time, like sign up for the website, or the editorial emails, or donate for the first time. The potential member funnel is a drip campaign in predictive response. Anyone who has never donated or is more than 30 days past their membership expiration is a potential member. We have to be really targeted and relentless with these emails. We have, of course, a lot of people who read the news but don't pay for it, and we need to change that as much as possible. And then finally, we have renewal reminders. As a member gets closer to expiration, we want to remind them until they renew, and then we want to stop reminding them. This is what the membership renewal campaign looks like in predictive response. We get to this screen directly through Salesforce. You can see each of these emails listed out, and I'll show you very briefly what they look like. Here's the first reminder that members receive, 90 days to renew. And here's the second, 60 days left. And the third, we also do one 3 weeks before membership expiration, and then 1 week before membership expiration. If none of those generate the response, then there's the "we miss you" email, which means you have expired. If there's still no renewal after this, then they get put into the potential member funnel. So relentless and targeted. Now you know how we're using email to increase donations, and you might be saying, that's really not that hard. Why do you need a tool as sophisticated as predictive response? It's true that in theory, we could send these out without this automation tool. And in fact, we tried that. What happened was we found the emails didn't go out very often. A big reason is just the time required to send them out. This is Paula. Paula is our membership and events manager, and she is supposed to spend her time talking to members. She is fantastic at this. They love her. But here we're faced with a decision. Do we pull her off the phones and have her spend half her time crunching lists and sending emails? We'd rather have a computer take care of that and let Paula focus on what only a human being can do. In addition to the time, however, we had another problem, and that was when somebody carved out the time and sat down and crunched the list and sent the emails, this happened. We would send out maybe 150 welcome emails, and we'd get a response like this. Nobody remembers the 149 emails that went to the right people. They remember the donor they had to call and apologize to, just like any of us would. People take it personally when we communicate with them in a way that indicates we are not close personal friends. And then there was this one. This really happened. We sent out our potential member funnel, and almost everybody got the right message. There was one very important person who got the wrong message. And you can see how if you're the person who receives this email, you find a way to make sure that you don't have time to send those emails again, right? It's human nature. None of us want to do that. So now you can see how tedious plus scary meant that these emails were not really going out very often. We knew we needed to automate. We then looked for an automation tool, and we chose predictive response because it could really handle the complexity of our situation. We needed a system that could create new lists every day without our input, and send these emails without our input every day, right? We needed to set it up and just have it run along. Campaign flow is a feature in predictive response that has been extremely important to us. It's the feature that lets us set up rules to determine the lists. I'll talk about that more in just a second. It also allows us to set up rules to determine when someone is complete. It's very important that we stop sending these emails once someone has donated. And the great part is that the person doesn't have to click on the email to donate. No matter how they donate, we know about it in Salesforce, and so we can have campaign flow automatically mark them as completed. Once a person is complete, they stop getting the emails, and we can then run nice charts like this that show us how effective our emails are, right? How many of the people we send emails to wind up being committed? And that, of course, was the whole point. So if you're thinking predictive response might be helpful for your organization, the next question is how? As I said at the beginning, the first step is to make sure you have thought out your marketing strategy very clearly. You'll find it really hard to implement if you haven't done that. Second, you need to consider that campaign flow uses information on the contact record and only the contact record. So if your criteria is about information on other objects, like opportunities, which you might be calling donations, or accounts, which you might call organizations, you need to set up some custom fields that pull that information onto the contact. Formula fields and rollup fields are very helpful for this. We wound up creating about 8 custom fields and a couple of workflow rules to populate those fields. We didn't have to write any triggers or code. This is a campaign flow record for one of our campaigns, and you can have many of these campaign flow records for any given campaign. So you can have a lot of different criteria that indicate who should receive these emails. And now, time for the tips about using predictive response well. First off, use Salesforce reports as you are setting up your campaign flow and your campaigns to make sure that you're putting exactly the right people in the campaign. You can do this all before you start sending anything out. Like anything new in Salesforce, it's easy to make a small mistake. If you test it with reports, you'll be able to correct those before you send out any emails. We've also found that using the minimal number of campaigns makes our dashboards more meaningful. We want to see a completed rate for the entire membership renewal reminders, for instance. We don't want to see individual reports or charts on 90 days versus 60 days versus 30 days, right? So it really makes sense to have a single campaign for anything that you can. And finally, communicating more and with more precise information will reveal issues in your data. Nobody's data is perfect. We were very explicit in our early emails, saying things like, our records indicate that you're not a member. If that's incorrect, please shoot us an email and let us know. And we got responses from people. They were in our system with several different email addresses, and we didn't have any information to link those all to a single human being. When they contacted us, we had that information. We were able to merge the records and improve the data. This is what had been so discouraging in the past. Now the campaigns just march along while we respond to notices like that. And we know that we are improving our data as we go along. That's a good feeling. You also need to make sure that your whole team is prepared to see the flaws in the data. Both for the cleanup, you need to make sure people are trained on how to merge records, but also for higher-ups to hear a few complaints from people that they know. If leaders are expecting this and they recognize that it's a step towards better data, they can be prepared for those conversations and makes it easier for everyone. So we are almost at the end. I will just sum up what we've talked about. Voice of San Diego is using emails to increase donations by welcoming people, reminding them to renew, and relentlessly targeting potential members. Predictive response automates this for us, which allows staff to spend time with people. All of this means more donations, and that's what Voice of San Diego needs in order to thrive. If you would like more information about predictive response, their website has lots of information, and Seth has told me that he will be posting a video of this webinar in the next couple of days. If you're interested in Mission Edge services, including help with setting up the kind of thing we're talking about today, you can check out our website or you can contact me directly. Here's my info.
Okay, thank you very much, Anna Crotty. Thank you, Mission Edge, for showing us your solution and how you use predictive response and campaign flow and our adaptive mailer to do your membership renewals and also the potential member funnel. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we do that on the back end here at Predictive Response. Again, my name is Seth Goddard. I am the VP for Business Development, and I have submitted a lead via a web form, which is what you just saw, into our Salesforce instance, and now we're going to see how campaign flow and the adaptive mailer take that potential member and turn them into a member, as well as then remind them to renew their membership. So we're going to review the 3 email types that Anna talked about, which was the welcome email, the potential member emails, as well as the membership renewal reminders. And we'll see how campaign flow completes people in the campaigns that they are moving through. And so the first one that this new lead has entered is a campaign that we're going to call the prospect funnel. And here you can see the initial email is already over here in my inbox, which is the welcome email. And you will see here that this is a drip campaign. And so it will be followed by 3 more, in this case, potential member emails. And let's just assume then that this person has gone ahead, opened their email, read through it, said, great, this sounds awesome. Maybe I'll go to an event. So they learn more about the event, and there they consider becoming a member and actually do it. So let's take a look at how that person then becomes a member and how we're going to turn off their membership in the initial campaign. So here's Mr. Charles Watts, and we can see that we're going to now go ahead and convert this lead to a contact. We're going to create a new, or actually we're going to connect Mr. Charles Watts to the existing Drum Kits account. This person becomes a contact with an opportunity. Let's just assume then that this membership opportunity moves from being prospecting to actually closed and won. And this is where we're going to see campaign flow go to work. Campaign flow had initially sent this first email, at least triggered it, to be sent as the welcome. And now what you're going to see is that once an opportunity closes, we're going to change the status of Mr. Charles Watts from being in the initial campaign to being completed in that campaign. So let's just go take a look. We've now closed this opportunity. You can see it's closed and won. And so let's take a look at Mr. Charles Watts, and we can see here that campaign flow has automatically completed the initial drip, which is great. Thank you very much, campaign flow, for doing that work. Let me just take a good look at how that happened. And here you can see that campaign flow sitting on the campaign object. Right here was how we added the web leads, and here's how we're going to complete the membership. And so in this case, campaign flow takes a look at the contact object and decides to change the status to completed when the amount of the opportunity is, in this case, greater than 1, and the stage is also contains the word 1. And so that's all that campaign flow needs to go ahead and complete somebody in a campaign. And now the other example that we looked at was when a member has a renewal date, and that renewal date matches a renewal drip campaign. So for this instance, we're going to say that the renewal date is, let's say, August 31st for this person's membership. Go ahead and hit save. And now campaign flow takes a look at this date, and based on that information, goes ahead and sends the initial renewal email campaign, renew today. And you can see then that Charles here has been added now to the renewal drip and has already been sent the initial email. And now let's just assume then that Mr. Charles Watts goes ahead and creates another renewal membership. So we'll call this membership renewal. And with a close date, let's just say, let's make it today, the 18th. Stage is now closed and won. And the amount, let's say, was $300. Great. Go ahead and hit save. And so now, after this opportunity has been created, we can go back to Mr. Charles Watts, and we can see that the campaign history now shows completed in both that initial renewal drip and the initial prospect funnel and the renewal drip that followed. You can also see that Charles has been added to a San Francisco event based on also the completion of the opportunities and that person's address. So that's how campaign flow and the adaptive mailer moves people into and through campaigns. And what I'd like to do now is take a quick look at that San Francisco event campaign that Mr. Charles Watts has just been added to, just to give you a quick look at how we then actually send the email through our adaptive mailer. Here you can see it's a very simple create, design, test, and send interface. The email editor is a standard WYSIWYG HTML editor, provides insert merge fields and templates. It provides uploading images and your standard HTML authoring. You can also access the HTML interface itself if you have coders in-house or you have templates that you want to upload. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like throughout the process here. So you go through creating, designing, testing. You can send it to yourself, or if you have a group of testers, A/B test, and you can review through Insight the look and feel of your email in various browser types. And finally, you go ahead and send the email. Right now, it's scheduled to be sent between a certain window here from 10 a.m. to 2. And I'm going to go ahead and send it right now to our recipients. And in this case, we should see that Charles will be receiving the email, the initial email, at least for this campaign. And here we can see that it's come to the event. Hello. And thank you very much for watching our webinar. I hope you enjoyed learning how Mission Edge has put their strategy to work with solutions from predictive response. We saw how leads were added and nurtured toward a purchase, and then how members were automatically added to a drip campaign as their membership renewal date approached. We also provided a look at the adaptive mailer's easy design, test, and send process used for scheduled, adaptive, and drip campaigns. And to learn more, please visit us online at predictiveresponse.com. Thank you.